It's about belief. And when you first start studying Aikido, I still remember distinctly when I would have a little breakthrough and I would do it just right and the person would go flying, I wouldn't feel anything. I didn't feel like I had to do anything. And so I would stop and go, you let me do that. Don't let me do it. And the person's like, no, I didn't. I was really trying to get you. And so I didn't believe it. Even though I just did it, I still didn't believe it. And after
this is how many years into your practice?
This is like 3 years,
okay.
4 years, and then I'd have something really go well, and then I wouldn't believe it and wouldn't trust it. No, you let me do it because I didn't do anything. I felt like I had to earn it. And in Aikido, all of the effort goes into not doing it.
Yeah.
That's just opposite of everything that's rational.
I can understand. Yeah.
You have to really,
because again, ego shouldn't be there. Is what it is.
Yeah. It's not about making
the mind to play. Yeah, right.
Or making it work. It's about flowing, tracking where is it going, where, and then leading it, and it's very much like a wave.
Yeah.
Because everything moves in these kind of wave forms. They're circles, spirals.
Yeah.
And when you're just you're not invested in the outcome.
Right.
You don't care.
Yeah.
Because it feels so good.
Yeah, you're one.
Flow.
Yeah.
And then they're there.
Oh.
And you're like, but one day I remember being in class, and suddenly I realized I wasn't questioning it anymore.
Ah, yeah.
Like you're talking about with the surfer, I absolutely knew what the outcome would be. I didn't have any idea how it would get there.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what the outcome would be.
Yeah.
And there was no question in my mind that it was going to work.
One of the story, sorry to jump in, but the fly fishing, I catch trout. And the best fishing is, where did I get this fish?
It's just like, boom.
It's a fly fishing, there's lots of maneuver to take place, and at the end you get the fish, and then when you have it, wow. And that's almost like...
yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah. But at the same time, the funny thing is all the masters seem to remember all the details of the movement, or the golfers, they remember all the holes and what happened in each hole.
Yeah, it's crystal clear in that way.
But in this case of your, doing opponent to flatten, do you recall all the movement afterwards?
Yeah,
okay. So it's kind of like a mindless, but you can recollect the information if you need to after the fact.
That's right, yeah. Because you have to be, one of the real challenges and things you learn with Aikido is you can't, you have to stay in the micro moment.
Right.
So, if somebody's grabbed you, by the lapels or something, or their wrist, and you're going to do something, you're going to blend with them and do a quote technique. What happens at first when you're learning Aikido is, let's say you have to turn 180 degrees, bring them around in front of you, and do a kodagaishi. And well, your mind wants to go to the throat, right? You're sitting here and your mind checks out and goes over there. No, it won't work.
Yeah.
So you have to stay completely present in each little connected moment with your partner. You can't let your mind go somewhere and
yeah. It's all not there. The surfing, the same thing. You're off, right?
Yeah, you can't be thinking about coming out of the tube.
No. The thinking shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the same time, though, which is something I'm struggling with in Aikido right now, is you actually have to be in both places at once.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
That's the paradox.
That's the paradox.
Yes, I agree with you. Totally.
You have to be in the future knowing exactly
I know what you're saying.
And totally in the moment.
Because I call it the mirror mind.
Until they come together.
I call it the mirror mind.
The mirror mind.
The mirror is, you see whatever in the mirror.
Yeah.
But the mirror itself is not moving.
Right.
So you know what's happening, but you're not engaging yourself to that movement. That kind of thing. So
right,
it's something like that. Yeah. So it's a paradoxical situation that the mind can move, but you see your mind moving, therefore you're not losing as to what is happening right there and then.
Exactly.
So you are saying...
That's the challenge, because it's not how we are normally hardwired.
Right.
That's just not how human beings think and work.
Yeah.
So it's like literally remapping your brain. It's like taking out all the reactivity,
right,
and replacing it with a process of tracking your inner bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in Aikido, there's physically tracking. Like, I'm punching here,
Right.
so that's where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you track with it where they want to go. But there's an emotional tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's experienced this. Like, if you're constricted, it feels bad. And if mentally constricted or physically constricted, you're trying to do something and you're kind of constipated. But when you release and everything flows out, there's another emotion, which is just this relief and bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So in Aikido, a lot of what ultimately ends up happening is you're tracking your bliss. You're thinking, this connection feels good. This movement, this is where the ki's flowing. If I go anywhere else, it'll be there. Oh, that feels good.
Do you know there's a book, this one is called Joseph Campbell.
Oh,
Do you know him?
I do know him.
And he talks about follow your bliss. Do you know his
Yes,
work?
I do.
It's the same.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I am totally in it with it, with this
so
idea. Yeah, yeah.
This is the master of mythology, this guy.
But when you talk about, I mean, we can talk about that one too, but the hypnosis that the Milton Erickson that I was talking about, he's doing the same thing in the mind and not engaging himself into it, but being able to practice what is needed at the time.
Yeah.
So all the masters, I see that is what they do.
There's something very parallel in all these different disciplines. They all
Merges to
merge
one,
into
yes.
these realities.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so simple once you get there.
That's right.
Oh. Yeah. I think it's interesting how so much of what we seek as adults
Mm-hmm.
is ever present in children.
Yeah.
And how there's a paradox there where we have the sense of responsibility to raise the kids and teach them the ways of the world and
Mm-hmm.
make sure they're competent in their schoolwork and can go out and get a good job and
All
these
right.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're the ones that have the awareness and knowledge of everything we're seeking, and then we spend the rest of our lives trying to get back to being a kid
Yeah,
again.
retrain, untrain it so
Yeah.
that you can connect to the sensation and awareness, the beginner's mind.
The beginner's mind, yeah. We take their time away. We make them pay attention to things that we think are important. They're learning massive amounts through play and
Right.
song and interacting with other kids and adults and animals. They see an animal and they just connect. And then we come along as adults and we're just impaired. We're just trying to repair our spiritual selves and get back to a sense of being open and free like that.
You know what Picasso says?
No.
It takes years to be a child.
That's good.
And he is precisely to the point.
Yeah.
He was 85. He was asked how his later paintings could be so innovative, could have the boldness and the fire of a young artist's work. Picasso's reply, it takes a long time to become young.
That's right. So true. You have so much unlearning to do.
And the naturalness comes out.
Yeah. I met a woman in England walking down the street, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were looking for a tea shop or something. And it was pouring rain. It was in Kent, and she hooked arms with us and follow me, I'll take you there. And during this walk through these little streets of this town, she basically lectured us about sentimentality and says, don't waste too much time on being an adult and being relationships and,
I see. Yeah.
because sooner or later you're on your own and you're going to wish you had done art and music
Anything.
and lived and gone traveling and
Jump into the water.
yeah. She's like, I'm 79 years old, you guys are 20 whatever, just go for it and enjoy it and go with the flow. But don't get all caught up in the little things that seem so important. Not important.
Yeah.
It was great, So I think as people get older, they realize, that,
Right.
that wow, there's that freedom and
Yeah.
the expressiveness,
Don't waste.
and then the waste, all the years spent hassling with, husband or a wife that didn't see things your way, or a job that was meaningless, or whatever.
Yeah, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, at the time it's like, well, I got to pay the bills, I got to.
But you can live with this. I have this pants with all the holes and stitch I don't need to. But it's also appreciating of what we have.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's natural for me. I just can't throw this away.
Yeah, and they're comfortable. For O-sensei, the founder of Aikido, I think what happened, his son writes about this. Evidently, he believed that O-sensei believed that Aikido, and you couldn't really study Aikido without being a farmer. You needed to have your hands in the earth, and you needed to be growing things.
And nature again.
Yeah, nature. So much of the quote technique and the movements of Aikido are derived from nature.
Yeah.
A lot of water movements, and he would have his students go sit and just watch the stream. Just like what happens when water hits a rock? Does it get stuck? No, it just finds the easiest way and flows.
How long does he sit?
Yeah, for hours.
Really?
Hours now. Yeah.
Have you done it?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time because I go to this place in Utah for at least twice a year and just hang out in the wilderness and do this.
Okay.
But it's just, he had this moment. Apparently he went to the well to get water, and his son writes about it as kind of a bingo moment where he just suddenly understood the connection between the universe and himself and in Aikido, and what gave Aikido its power and what it was really for.